Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Formula One sprint qualifying for the Chinese Grand Prix. We've not had the Chinese race in a fair while, and we are finally back here in Shanghai in a very, very difficult track, but very, very keen to see what the drivers can do here. It's a really, really fun track, I tend to think anyway. Lots of long turns and windy corners, and also a really, really, really long back straight. Where lots of overtakes can happen. I think that might benefit the Red Bulls quite a lot. Obviously, they've got one of the quickest DRS DRS systems in the grid, but I think it does also allow for people to just try and get a little bit closer and give them much edge in terms of trying to overtake, and maybe we'll see a lot of overtakes this weekend. It should be a cracker, and of course we did have the only practice session earlier today, very, very early in the morning, where Stroll managed to top the charts there out of nowhere. We have no idea how, but we'll see if he can actually replicate that now in this sprint qualifying this session here. So, of course, you're joining me. My name is Mark, and welcome to Forever Motorsports. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below if you are new to the stream, or if you're not new. Let me know where you're tuning in from, and give me a hello and how's it. I'm always very, very keen to see who's here and who's in the zoo, so that I know who we're having a good chat with this time around. Let me know your predictions as well, and also go and vote in that poll as to who will start on pole for the sprint race itself. The sprint race will be tomorrow, obviously, but they will first have qualifying for the race on Sunday. In the first session tomorrow morning, and then they'll have the sprint race itself. So very, very cool to have the sprint race this weekend, the first sprint race of the year, if I'm not mistaken. And it means that we could have some interesting results come out. We could see the likes of Max Verstappen and Red Bull maybe not be right at the top there. It allows people to just go full on, and they don't have to worry too much about tire degradation, because it's such a short little sprint that hopefully you will see more teams compete and right near the top there. So again, going over the times from earlier session today, the only practice session for the weekend, we had Stroll right at the top there, 136.3. Piastri was in second at 136.6. Then the two Red Bulls, also 136.6 and a 136.69 for Verstappen and Perez. Then we had Hulkenberg and Magnussen in the Haas in fifth and sixth. Ocon in the Alpine in seventh, Albon in the Williams in eighth, Ricciardo in ninth, and Bottas and Zhou in those respectively. 12 minutes for Q1 or for Sprint Session 1. SQ1 as they actually call it. SQ2 is 10 minutes and SQ3 is 8 minutes. So really not a lot of time to put laps on the board. But here we are for the Lenovo Chinese Grand Prix in 2024. There are 24 rounds, of course, in the 2024 season. And this year, round 5, Shanghai, China. And the first one to have the sprint for the year. Looking at the track for stats, we've got track distance of 5.4 kilometers, one of the much longer tracks. Full throttle, 62%. Lap record at 131. Top speed at 343 kilometers an hour. Again, you reach a very big top speed here, 16 turns and an elevation of only 7.3 meters. It is the second longest, if I believe, straight on this calendar. The only one longer is that, of course, in Bahrain. Ridiculously long, that one. But this one is also very long, that back straight, a long, long straight. And a very long track. Times here are not quick. So, yeah, we will have some racing here. The mandatory tires that you have to use this session, again, we're going back to mandatory tires again this season, is medium tires in SQ1, medium tires again in SQ2, and only soft tires in SQ3. So nobody's going to be able to use the soft tire in the first session, and the tires do make quite a big of a difference in this track. F123 is in the comments saying hello, great to see you, F123, joining us here, of course. And I'm hoping to see some more regulars in the chat as well. And if you're not a regular, please be sure to let me know where you're tuning in from and what your thoughts are about Formula One as a whole, rather, and what you think of it at the moment and who you're supporting, etc., etc. It's going to be quite a frenetic session, as one of the commentators says, and I do agree with him. So we're hoping to see a really, really cool, sprint qualifying. Yeah, F123 does make a good point. I think it's because I do forget Vegas is brand new. I think Vegas' straight is longer. In fact, it is longer. I actually do know that. I don't know what I'm talking about, but yes, Vegas' straight is also longer. But that wasn't there before, you see. So that's why I'm always used to China being one of the much longer ones. But I do forget Vegas has joined, and it is a little bit longer than this one. Wind at the moment is 20.8 kilometers in a southeast direction, so quite strong, but not too strong. But it might put the cars a little bit out of sorts. Look at the Drivers' Championship right now. It's not actually that given right now for the two Red Bulls. I mean, yes, they're currently leading at 77 points for Max Verstappen and Perez with only 64 points. Leclerc, though, is not far behind neither sides with 59 points and 55 points respectively. So the Ferraris are chasing the Red Bulls quite close. The Constructors' Championship right now sits at 141 points to Red Bull and 120 to Ferrari. Then only McLaren at 69 points. So there's only two teams in it right now. Ferrari are trying to pull a challenge to Red Bull. Let's see if Ferrari can pull a challenge this weekend. I think it's obviously going to be a crucial time for them to get anywhere. Kick Sauber seem to want to try and do something this weekend. I'm hoping that their pit crews have improved, because I don't think I've ever seen such a poor pit crew in Formula One history, but I'm hoping that they have improved quite dramatically now. And they're seemingly looking like the team that want to get out nice and early. And I do believe the session has just started. So here we go for Sprint Qualifying 1, only 12 minutes long. And BC Voja saying, someone told me the circuit looks like an upside down cat and now I can't see it. That is actually very, I do quite enjoy that. It's not far wrong. Not far wrong. And of course, Joe Granu here has got a home Grand Prix for himself. His first, I believe, ever home Grand Prix in Formula One. Of course, we haven't had China in a fair while, and he's only been in Formula One a couple of seasons. So he's got his first ever home Grand Prix, and I'm hoping that he does something quite interesting here. I'm hoping Kickstarter do something for him. And also another interesting thing is Alex Albon's helmet. Have you seen it? It's a very, very cool helmet for this weekend. It is a Panda, and it's very, very well done. I quite enjoy it. So be sure to go and check that out as well if you have time. And there you go. Everybody else is making their way out onto the track now, as there are about 11 minutes and 15 seconds remaining of this session. So the Kick Sauber seems to be leading everybody else out. Of course, only allowed to use medium tires this session. I repeat, only allowed to use medium tires. So there's a lot of question marks over the sort of speeds that we could expect from teams this weekend, because again, even in the first session, a lot of people didn't actually utilize all the tires. They didn't go for different strategies in that session, just testing certain things, race pace mainly, I assume. So we saw very, very big difference in terms of pace. We saw Lance Stroll and Aston Martin all the way at the top, but Alonso was all the way down in 19th. So again, we really don't have a very good clue as to what could happen in today's sprint qualifying. Again, we look at Alex Albon's helmet. It is very, very cool. Yes, it's very cool. It's a panda, and it's quite a cool helmet for Alex Albon. F123 saying, "Do Snake have a new pit crew? Why are they bad?" No, they've just been garbage. I mean, I think Kick Sauber's average pit time. I was looking at a stat the other day. Kick Sauber's average pit time, or time for spent in the pit lane for pit stop, is like longer than any team in like for the last 20 years. It's like a stupid thing. It's like 7.2 seconds or something is the average length so far in 4 races is 7.2 seconds. Max Verstappen has now made his way out, and he's just been cut off a little bit by one of the Aston Martins there. I believe that's Lance Stroll. Lance Stroll now slowing down slightly, and Max Verstappen probably going to have a little bit of a moan about that. Trying to go around the outside, remembering that he's not allowed to. Lance Stroll just pretty much putting his car right in the middle there, and just maybe just getting a little bit underneath Max Verstappen's skin before we start the sprint qualifying session. But of course, let me know in the comments as well if you think anybody's going to have an interesting session where they don't make it through that they should. Piastri noting some very interesting information. You're saying some light drops of rain. So that's going to be interesting to see how they react to that. There's officially apparently 60% chance of rain. So we'll see if there is actually rain. But Zhou Guanyu starts our first hot lap of the day. With only under 9 minutes remaining. Again, it's only really time for 2 laps in this session, but they really do need to get around quite quickly because it is a long track. So the Haas's are still waiting. So now they've just made their way out now. So it's taken a while for them to get out there. But Zhou Guanyu is going out on his session. Lewis Hamilton's following him. He's put in a 25.444 in his Sector 1. For that time there. Zhou Guanyu continuing, of course, he's going to be our first time to see what the representative time is for at least Kick Sauber. Of course, puts in a purple time in Sector 2. It's about a 58 seconder, and it's already been beaten now by, I believe, his teammate, Valtteri Bottas. So, yeah, we'll see how these guys fare now, and we've got the 2 Mercedes chasing them in hot pursuit as well. So Zhou now coming down that very long back straight. Hamilton's put in a purple sector in Sector 2 right now, so he holds that current fastest time. So let's see if that holds there. Russell's also approaching that marker there. Let's see if George Russell can continue this form of outperforming Hamilton. Russell on the radio, though, saying, "Let me know if anybody's going off. It's spitting more." Well, this is going to be interesting because if the rain starts to affect the session, those who put their laps in immediately might get quicker laps. Zhou Guanyu finishes up at 137.9. Hamilton's now coming towards that. Bottas beats it at 137.49. And Hamilton now coming around the final corner here. Let's see what time he puts in. Alexander Albon and Sargent was slower than the 2 Kick Saubers. That's poor by Williams then to be slower than the Kick Saubers. Hamilton goes faster, so 137.2, but it really is not that much quicker than the Kick Saubers. Russell now coming across the line. He comes in a 137 point. Oh my word, slow for George Russell. Only 5th place. And yeah, this is going to be interesting because if the rain is affecting the session, then we could see some big names drop out here. Sainz only a 137.8. He's slower than Valtteri Bottas in the Kick Sauber. So this is already proving a very interesting session. So don't go anywhere. I think the slight bits of pitter-patter rain might be affecting you. Charles Leclerc, though, goes quickest, the 136.8. And Piastri now comes across the line, 137.2. He goes into second. Lando Norris has got a purple sector in Sector 2. Alonso, though, is going around quickest. He's currently got a purple sector in Sector 1. But there is a tiny bit of rain over the, I believe that's the back straight. Right at the end of the back straight, there's a bit of rain there. That's where Oscar Piastri seemed to note it as well before starting his hot lap. So, yeah, Lando Norris now comes across the line. He goes into second place for Lando Norris there, slightly behind Leclerc, literally 0.004. But Alonso, he seems to be the one to watch, as well as Verstappen. Alonso still holding on to that purple sector in Sector 1. Nobody's beaten that yet, including Max Verstappen. So we're watching Fernando Alonso in that Aston Martin. Let's see what he can do. It is a little bit puddly at the back of this track here, so people have to put up that a little bit. Alonso now He's coming across the line for the final sector here. Let's see how he does. I'm hoping that he gets right near the top here. And could we see big names drop out? I think we might well do. And Alonso crosses the line, and he goes quickest there in his Aston Martin, 0.003 seconds quicker than Leclerc. So the top three are only split by 0.007. But here comes Max Verstappen. He's going to come across the line, I think, quite a bit quicker than them. He's going to come across the line at 136.4. 0.4 seconds quicker than the Aston Martin of Fernando Alonso. My word, just a different category is the Red Bull there in that first lap for him there. But still, an interesting one to look at. The Mercedes looking very, very close to the elimination zone as Ricciardo comes across the line at 8th position right now. And Perez goes quickest. He goes quicker than Max Verstappen. There you go. Look at that from a statement from the Mexican. 136.1, almost into the 135s there for Sergio Perez. Max Verstappen slightly slower than his teammate, not even just slightly, quite a bit slower, 0.3 seconds. So Sergio Perez found quite a lot more pace than Max Verstappen there. But there seems to be rain on the way, and if the rain does come, then it's going to be a very, very interesting one, because I think we might see Mercedes panic as they're really quite far down. Watching a replay here of Pierre Gasly and Logan Sargent. Sargent just complaining about Gasly getting in his way on his hot lap there. So yeah, I mean, not very, very good from Pierre Gasly. He's not been having a good season. Logan Sargent, I think, making too much noise about it. I don't think it's that bad. But, yeah. Esteban Ocon, also watching a replay of him. Does he just go slightly off here? He does. Yeah, just had to correct quite badly on that final corner there. So, but yeah, I think all right for most teams there. But I think the Mercedes are panicking quite a bit, as is Carlos Sainz maybe, because this rain is on its way, so he really needs to get going here. Carlos Sainz not currently completing that fast lap for himself to try and make sure that he gets into the next session. A lot of drivers here have stayed out. They've not gone back into the pits. They've made sure that they're just going to be able to go for a double push lap. That's what seems to be happening for Carlos Sainz here. He's slightly slower than Perez, but he seems to be going quicker than Max Verstappen right now. He is a driver at risk. Currently, Russell is in the elimination zone. He's in the pits right now, only 3.5 minutes remaining. So he needs to get out there as quickly as possible. Hamilton's also not necessarily safe right now in 10th position. He's quite close to that drop zone as well. Carlos Sainz, they're coming down that back straight. It's very, very, very long. And there you go, coming around the final corner. And Sainz now coming across the final corner here. Let's see what time he puts in. Lando Norris has gone slower in the sector 2, so it seems that the first lap seems to be quicker, but Sainz goes over in third fastest at 136.7. So we've currently got 2 Red Bulls, 1-2. Sainz in third. Oh, Leclerc now in third as he crosses the line. So we've got the 2 Red Bulls, then the 2 Ferraris, just like the Drivers' Championship, and then Alonso in 5th, Lando Norris in 6th, Hulkenberg 7th, and Stroll in 8th. Bottas's Kick Sauber cars in 9th, and Piastri up there in 10th. But Lando Norris now is got a little lockup going into that second to last corner, turn 14, now into turn 15. And now coming across the line, is he going to be quicker than anybody? He's going to go into second position, so that's much nicer for him there. Into second at 136.3. It's a little bit quicker than Max Verstappen as well. That should be quick enough for him to get into the next session. But again, George Russell currently the one that we're looking at, as is Hamilton, not looking particularly quick. Watching a replay of Carlos Sainz here, just getting a little bit impeded, I think there, yeah. Just complaining about Kevin Magnussen's Haas getting in the way there. Cora here saying good morning, everyone. Well, good morning to Cora as well. And we've only got 2 minutes remaining. The 2-minute marker has been sounded. Again, drivers currently at risk. Yuki Tsunoda, Sargent, Ocon, Russell, and Albon. The 2 Williams not looking particularly happy right now. Alexander Albon in 16th position. He seems to be doing a push lap right now. So let's see if he can get himself out of that drop zone. George Russell as well is on an out lap, as is Hamilton. The rest of them seem to be okay. I think they're going to be heading into the pits. Maybe they'll do one more lap, because I think it might be enough time for one more lap. We'll see what happens here. So again, only those 5 drivers in the elimination zone. The 2 Williams of Mercedes of George Russell, an Alpine of Ocon, and an RB of Tsunoda. Tsunoda, very slow, had to abandon his first lap. It seems 4.3 seconds slower than the car ahead of him. Alexander Albon is still slightly behind Pierre Gasly's time in 15th, so he's not seemingly getting out of that elimination zone right now in Sector 1, but he needs to improve in Sector 2 and Sector 3 to see if he can get out of it. Ocon as well is going a little bit better for himself, but I'm not sure it's going to be good enough to get out of that elimination zone, so let's see and hope that Ocon's Alpine can get out of this session, but I think it's going to be a bit of a tough ask for him. 46 seconds remaining. That outlap is still happening for the two Mercedes, so they really need to get going here, because I think Hamilton might be a little bit of danger, Russell especially, considering he's already in the elimination zone. Albon has gone slower again in Sector 2 than Pierre Gasly. I think he's going to have to give up this lap at this point, because he's not going to get out of the elimination zone. It seems Albon's going to get out, and Ocon as well wasn't able to get out. So Ocon only in 16th, so he is out of the session. He is not going to be able to participate in the second sprint qualifying session. Alexander Albon coming down that final back straight. Russell again is slow to Gasly. So I think we might lose George Russell here. Hamilton is going a little bit quicker, but Russell's really going quite slow. So we might lose a big name in George Russell's Mercedes. Albon now coming across the line. Let's see if he's managed to find a little pace in Sector 3. I don't think he's going to be able to, and he doesn't get out of it. He finishes up there in 17th. He is out of SQ1. And unfortunately, that means probably both Williams are. Russell's going very slow. Let's see if he managed to find some time in the second sector. He's slightly behind Gasly still. Sargent improves his time, but not good enough to get out of the elimination zone. He's also out in 18th position right now. But Tsunoda, Russell, and Ocon. Well, Ocon's also out. We know that he's not going to be able to finish it up. But it's just Russell and Tsunoda. Can they get out of it? But Russell's still going quite slow. So everyone is watching Russell right now to see if he can actually get out of SQ1. He's slightly slower than Gasly. Tsunoda, there you go. He gets into 18th, so he's also out. So he's not going to beat his teammate Ricciardo. Ricciardo is safe. Look at that forward statement from Ricciardo, knowing this is one of his final races to make a big statement, and he does. Brilliant from him. Russell now, can he get out of SQ1? He's going slowly. Let's see if he goes. Will he be able to get into it? He does. He does. He just finds it in that final sector there. And Hamilton just improves his time to 10th position. So there you go. The final 5 drivers eliminated in that session. We thought we might have lost George Russell, but we didn't. And yeah, so he finishes up there in 13th position, does George Russell. But the 5 drivers we lost, the 2 Williams, Sargent and Albon, the 2 Alpines, Gasly and Ocon, no surprises there. And Yuki Tsunoda in the RB. So Yuki Tsunoda not having a good time there. And Daniel Ricciardo making it into SQ2. So Daniel Ricciardo outperforming his teammate. Something we haven't seen that much this season so far. But there you go. Brilliant from Daniel Ricciardo. He's got himself into SQ2. As has the homeboy, Zhou Guanyu, in his home Grand Prix. He has made it into SQ2. I'm very chuffed with him. Both kick sabers have, in fact, which is a dramatic improvement on the previous Grand Prix so far this session. There is fire on the track again. There's fire again on the grass here. Fire in turn 5, like this morning, basically says Leclerc, and indeed it is. What is that caused by? So yeah, there is a fire currently in the track. It's on the grass. It's the same thing that happened in practice earlier, but it's very, very odd as to how that happened. And it's happened again, so they're going to have to put that out. I wonder how it just seems to catch a light. It's very, very odd. Very, very odd. But yes, the 2 Alpines, the 2 Williams, and Yuki Tsunoda out of this sprint qualifying now. They finished up there 16th through to 20th. And Bob is back. Bob is back. Hello, back. Hello, Bob, rather. And Yuki Tsunoda, after finally seeming like he'd matured quite a bit this season, we were hoping that he, matured as a driver. Just showing immaturity again there after being eliminated in SQ1. Throwing his toys, shouting on the radio, swearing, losing his mind. It does act a bit like a child when it doesn't go his way. Spoiled child. It really doesn't help. Ooh, Logan Sargent just catching a curb quite hard. James, they're just saying crazy that skid boxes are causing fires. Indeed, it is very interesting. It must be the grass must be that dry. It must be that dry, the fact that it just seems to catch fire that easily. But I mean, it's grass. It shouldn't catch fire that easily. And it's green as well. It's not, unless they've spray painted it and it's actually dead grass. Maybe that's the case, but I doubt it. China gets quite a lot of rain, and currently it's been raining stop-start throughout the whole weekend. So the grass can't be dry. It's very odd. Race Control has noted that the start of SQ2 will be delayed as a result of that fire. So yeah, very, very odd. Very, very interesting. Not something that we usually see. And as the commentators also say, it just doesn't make sense. I'm no expert in gardening, but grass shouldn't just catch fire that easily. Yeah, they were not wrong at all. But Joe Guan Yu, very happy to make it through to SQ2 in his home race. Yes, come on, guys, he says on the radio. So he's quite chuffed to have made it through. And he's going to be able to compete in the next session as well. Just give me 2 seconds, guys. I'm going to get myself some water whilst we wait for this session to start, as it has been delayed. And I'll be back right now. So still waiting for that delay as a result of that fire currently in turn 5. So we're going to have a delay to the session. And we're going to have to wait for the next session to get going. Christian Horner there in the Red Bull garage, waiting to see how his team will fare in SQ2. It seems like they've got a bit of a fight on here from Lando Norris and from the from the Ferraris and the McLarens, because they seem to be, right near the sort of pace of the Red Bull car. So I'm keen to see what happens here. But it seems like rain is affecting the session now. I think we might have a bit of rain affecting the session. This is going to be very interesting now, because the rain is happening. It is happening. There's drizzling out on track, so we're going to have a bit of a wet track. So do people challenge or try with the dry tire? Do we try with the intermediate tire? I mean, it's only slight drizzle, but I think everybody's going to try and get out there as quickly as possible. So we're going to have a hell of a session now in SQ2 here. And yeah, Race Control has noted that it will start at 3 local time. That means it'll start in just about 4 minutes time. We'll have SQ2 start, but I think we might have a mad rush at the beginning of the session in terms of trying to get out into the track as early as possible, because yeah, I mean, essentially what we're seeing is everybody trying to make a decision about tires because it is drizzling out on track. I think everybody's still going to hold on to the dry tires. But yeah, there you go. You see, McLaren has gone early there to try and make sure they get out there, as has the Haas to try and get ahead of Aston Martin's. And there's a bit of fighting for the Ferrari there as well. I mean, it's hilarious in the pit lane right now. We're seeing all the cars making sure that they keep everybody else from getting ahead of them in the pit lane there. The Ferrari, I think of Charles Leclerc, comes across to basically defend in the pit lane from somebody coming out of their own pit box. So everybody's trying to come out very early there. You can literally see he's come to stop a Haas there. I think it's Charles Leclerc or perhaps Carlos Sainz. Can't quite see who it is. But has positioned his car to stop the Haas from coming out of the pit lane so that he can get ahead of him. So that McLaren there has reacted nice and early to get there as quickly as possible. But I mean, it's just hilarious how everyone's rushed out very early. We still got a good 3 minutes until the session gets going, but everybody's out there on the medium tire straight away because they just know that it's getting a little bit wet out on track. So the earlier you get your lap in, the better. So yeah, it is drizzling. Looking at the comments here, saying F123 saying, I thought they wet the grass so that doesn't happen. By the way, no donations though this weekend. I'm buying a simulation rig. Sorry, that's nonsense. I think if McLaren win the Grand Prix or win SQ, if they win sprint qualifying, there's got to be some sort of a donation. You can't withhold a donation. I mean, when was the last time they managed to do that? You've got to celebrate it a little bit. But I'm jealous of you buying a simulation rig. I am very jealous. Bob saying the sparks in the car are getting the grass on fire. We know that. Even if it's wet, it'll catch on fire. But it shouldn't catch on fire that easily. Name me another track where this has ever happened. It shouldn't. Cora saying, this morning I woke up with a start, frantically checking my phone because I somehow convinced myself in my sleep that Sainz had signed for Aston Martin next year. Needless to say, I was very confused. Well, indeed, that's not happened. It's very interesting to know or to wonder as to where Carlos Sainz will end up next season because he currently doesn't have a seat, and yet he's one of the only drivers to have won Grand Prix in the last couple of seasons versus Verstappen. So, I mean, it's a very odd one. I don't think he's a brilliant driver, and I'm very keen to see him do more. I'm very upset that he is going to be axed out of Ferrari for Lewis Hamilton. I mean, a lot of people are very happy to see Hamilton go in, but I'm personally very upset to see Sainz leave. So yeah, anyway, we'll see what happens there. Magnussen's radio just saying there to him, saying that there's light drizzling around, but nothing serious for the next 5 to 10 minutes. So seems like going out there very early hasn't made that much of a difference. So maybe people were a little bit too eager to get out on track. But yeah, I don't think it was all that bad. Everybody reacted very quickly. But I noticed that the Red Bulls don't seem to have reacted. They don't seem to have got out their pit lane yet. So I think the Red Bulls did not react at all. They didn't panic, and they think they're going to wait a little bit. F123 saying they got Opel in 1997, and I can't say Red Bull had been reaching out to him. The session has now started, so we've got 10 minutes of racing here, and Aston Martin's Fernando Alonso is desperate to force Magnussen out of the pit lane there. He's just not letting him in. It's hilarious. There's a lot of fighting in the pit lane as to who's going to go ahead of it. Is fighting to try and get out of the pit lane. It is quite interesting. Oh my word, the fighting to try and get out the pit lane here and to try and claim position ahead. And Zhou is trying to get ahead of, trying to see who that is that he's alongside. He's alongside Daniel Ricciardo. Daniel Ricciardo just not letting him get ahead of him. It's hilarious. And the Ferrari of Carlos Sainz just holding them both up. And there you go. They're now all out of the pits. They've all become unmuddled. And the Red Bull's still chilling in the pits. And they're not too concerned. They're having a full-on laugh with each other right now. Max Verstappen having a chuckle with one of the engineers there, well, one of the pit crew, before going out onto track. So obviously just having a laugh at everybody else fighting it out on in the pits there, and they're thinking, we're so fine, we don't have to worry about things. But it's been nice to be Red Bull, not to have to worry about it. So yeah, they didn't seem to panic. They've gone out now with warm tires, fresh tires, nobody in the pits to stop them from getting out there nice and early, whereas everybody else had to fight it out. So 8 minutes remaining of the session. Lando Norris on the radio, being told that this is the lap that matters. It could be this one is the one that matters. So basically being told by his race engineer to motor. And Sergio Perez makes his way out of the pit lane and just waits for Lando Norris to pass him. But basically, Lando Norris has been told by his race engineer to make sure that he motors this lap, because this is going to be the one that matters, because rain is about to hit and they don't think that it's going to be able to get a quicker lap than this one. So basically being told, pedal to the metal, go, it's now or never. Piastri, of course, I'm sure being told the same thing. Well, he's got a purple sector in sector 1 at 24 second. So he really is pushing it. He does seem to be pushing that car as much as he can. So, yeah, just making sure he tries to get as quick a time as possible. Piastri can't seem to beat his teammate's first sector time. And let's see how he fares in Sector 2. He's now catching up to the current Drivers' Championship, Max Verstappen. I'll get there eventually. My English not going very well there. Sector 2 is also purple for Lando Norris. Can Piastri improve upon that as well? Carlos Sainz is following in Sector 1. He's not gone quicker than Lando Norris either. So Lando Norris really motoring here. So he's taken that message on board from his race engineer and really going for it. Piastri also going quite quickly, but not as quickly as his teammate, though. Now, Sector 1 has got a purple sector for somebody else. I'm not quite sure who it is, but somebody has stolen that purple sector away from Lando Norris in Sector 1. So I wonder who that is. I wonder if it's a Ferrari. Maybe it's Charles Leclerc's Ferrari. So we'll have to wait to see who it is that's stolen it away. Now, Lando Norris comes across the line. Let's see what he does. Is it a 136? It is a 136.047. So it's the quickest third sector as well, and the quickest lap of the day so far. But I think it could be beaten. Fernando Alonso went quickest in Sector 1. Really, really quick there for the Aston Martin. Piastri now crosses the line quicker than his teammate. The quicker purple sector at 135.853. So the two McLarens really put a good time out there. And now Sainz and Leclerc and those Ferraris will be chasing them right now. Let's see how they fare. Carlos Sainz seems to be going slightly slower than those McLarens, though, so I don't think he's going to be quite as high up, but will it be quick enough compared to the rest of the grid? Sainz now comes across the line. Will it be a 136.052? It's only slightly behind Lando Norris. Alonso, though, now here he comes across the line. Will he be quicker than all of them? He will not be. Only a 136.119, so fourth fastest. Only good enough for fourth fastest. Now, Charles Leclerc, here he comes around the final corner. What will he do? And he seems to be going quite quickly. Will he get under the 136s? I think he will. He will go quickest, in fact, a 135.711. The two Mercedes now also finishing up their laps. Max Verstappen's gone quickest in Sector 2, so he seems to be faring all right there in his Red Bull. And we'll wait to see what this Mercedes can do as Russell now comes across the line. He didn't do particularly well in SQ1. Let's see how he does this session. He's gone slow again. Slower than Guan Yu Zhou, slower than Valtteri Bottas, slower than Alonso. So really not that good. Fighting with the Haas's. Same as Hamilton, only just quicker than Zhou Guan Yu, but slower than Alonso and slower than Bottas. But here comes Max Verstappen. He's got a purple sector in Sector 2. He might well get a purple sector in Sector 3. He might even go a sub 135. Nope, he goes a 135.6, only 1.1 seconds quicker than Charles Leclerc. But that is a very, very good lap from Max Verstappen to get into first. But Perez comes across the line, only good enough for third. There's 4.5 minutes remaining of this session. Currently in the elimination zone, Lance Stroll, Daniel Ricciardo, the two Haas's, and again, George Russell. Rain expected in less than 3 minutes. So basically, all they're saying is basically have a cool lap, but it can't be that slow. You need to actually go a little bit and then go for it. So Lando Norris has gone into the pits. He reckons he's safe, obviously. They reckon there's going to be rain in 1 minute's time. There's going to be rain in 1 minute's time. Both Saubers, though, at the moment, sitting in the top 10 for SQ2, so they will currently be going into SQ3. It's a brilliant result for them right now. They've come out of nowhere for this time. So Kick Sauber here, just putting something out of their hat here. And if the rain does affect the session and these cars can't get around quicker, then we will see two Kick Saubers in SQ3. And there's some nervy moments in the Mercedes garage right now. They're trying to plan George Russell's lap here. And George Russell's right behind Zhou Guanyu, but the track conditions might not favour him. And the fact that he couldn't beat him in this first run says that it's going to be a bit of a tough one to ask. 3 minutes, just about 3 minutes remaining of the session. So it's going to be right down to the wire for Mercedes here. Quite a few people have also made their way into the pits, clearly not thinking that they're going to be able to get a decent lap out. Stroll has gone to the pits. He's given up clearly. Ricciardo as well. Hulkenberg as well. Alonso has not gone back out. Neither have the two McLarens. So George Russell, he's now started his hot lap. This is the only time that he can try and do something here. Let's see how he fares in Sector 1 compared to Zhou Guanyu's time. It's much slower. Much slower. 0.68 seconds. So it seems like George Russell's going to be eliminated. He's miles off. He's never going to get that time back. So everyone's now heading back into the pits because the track is wet. The rain has hit. It's not going to be good enough. So George Russell is going to be out of the session. So indeed, it was true, according to Landon Norris's engineer. The first lap was the all crucial one. And George Russell is not going to be able to beat that time of Zhou Guanyu. And yeah, I think he's going to be eliminated. Fact. Stroll, Ricciardo, Hulkenberg, Magnussen, and Russell eliminated in this session. The top 10 includes two kick Saubers. Zhou Guanyu in 10th. Hamilton just makes it in 9th. Alonso in 8th. Valtteri Bottas in his kick Sauber in 7th. Then the Ferraris, the McLarens, and the Red Bulls in the top 6. So it's very, very interesting there that the rain did affect it. George Russell is out of the session. I mean, he's still going for his lap, but he's never going to be able to get it. Science on the radio saying it's raining quite heavy now. It is raining relatively heavily now. So yeah, I mean, it's an interesting one. James just saying, if only Stroll's setup was better. Well, yeah, Lance Stroll only finishing up there in 15th compared to his teammate in 8th. Lance Stroll just really struggling in that Aston Martin. But Zhou Guanyu has made it into SQ3 in his home Grand Prix, an incredible result for him, and an incredible result for for Kick Sauber. Both Kick Saubers, the green machine, the green snake, have made it into SQ3. And it's a sprint race, which means that, they could get some points maybe. James saying wet track for Q3 is going to be fun. Indeed it is. We might see some people go off, and it's only 8 minutes long, so only really time for 2 push laps, and they're not even going to make their way back into the pits. So it's going to be a wet track. Will people go out in the intermediates? I imagine they will. And then we'll see some interesting things happening out there. So yeah, very, very chuffed for Zhou Guanyu, very, very chuffed for Valtteri Bottas and Kick Sauber, because I quite like the team as much as the pit crew's useless and the car has not been good at all. I quite enjoy the team being very different. It's a very modern looking team for only one season, of course. But it's a very modern looking team in terms of being this bright green and this very obvious car out on track. So I quite enjoy it. I quite like the team, funny enough. And for both of them to make it to SQ3, it's an incredible result. It's really, really good. Great management. And he outperformed Russell, did Zhou. So Russell, poor performance from him. Daniel Ricciardo does outperform his teammate, but not brilliant in SQ2, only in 14th position. The two Haas's can't do much more than 13th and 12th. And yeah, Lance Stroll in 15th down there, the slowest in SQ2. Watching a replay of Lewis Hamilton here. Coming to turn 11, he just locks up quite badly. I think this was just on an outlap as well. So, yeah. Just saying it's wet. So I think it's just basically confirming that they're going to pretty much go on to intermediate tires for the next session. Crowd is going wild for Zhou Guanyu. Indeed, they are. They're really appreciative of their home driver. And Shanghai has lit up to see the only Chinese driver on the grid in the final session. Brilliant result from him. And Bob just said he just made a social credit go up by like 1 million. Indeed, a great result for Zhou Guanyu. FIA stewards have noted an investigation after the session for Magnussen and Hulkenberg failing to follow race director's instructions for a maximum delta time. So yeah, the next session will get going in just a little bit. They don't delay for rain, not unless the rain is quite severe. So they don't delay for rain. So we should see everybody come out on intermediate tires. And if it does dry quite quickly, then they'll come back in for the slick tires immediately. But I imagine that we're going to see intermediate tires for most of the session. Now, I listened to Yuki Tsunoda about a session. He seems very disappointed. He said he was struggling with grip in general, especially from FP1 and into sprint qualifying. He just couldn't seem to find grip in the car. So, yeah, not enjoying a session today, and significantly outperformed by his teammate Daniel Ricciardo. Yuki Tsunoda 19th, Ricciardo in 14th. TC here joining us. Good morning. Great to see you here, TC. I haven't seen you so far today. But the Chinese crowd have gone mad for Zhou Guanyu here, and Zhou Guanyu's family looking also very, very chuffed in the pit lane there for him. And a great result for him. And I'm so chuffed for him. And I want to see if he can get a little bit higher than 10th. I think beating Hamilton might even be on the cards here. I genuinely think so, because it's wet now. Anything can happen. Absolutely anything can happen here. It's a wet track. Intermediate tires will be used. So we could see some very, very interesting things happen here in this SQ3. The rain is definitely coming down. It's quite heavy rain, so it's definitely going to be intermediate tires. We're not going to see any slick tires this session. It's quite wet. It's really changed the dynamics of the session. You can just see all the umbrellas out there in the crowd and on the grass banks, and the raincoats coming out there. It's become a very wet session here in Shanghai, so it's going to make this an interesting session. Now, Valtteri Bottas, Zhou Guanyu, and those two Kick Saubers, they might be able to get quite high up here. And remember, in a sprint race, the top 8 teams, top 8 positions get the points. And the Kick Saubers, I keep saying the Bottas, the Kick Saubers could be in for points tomorrow in the sprint race at the moment, because I mean they are right up there in the final session. If they get a half decent finish, they could really challenge for points tomorrow in the sprint race. So go on, Kick Sauber. Also there, of course, the 2 Ferraris, the 2 Red Bulls, the 2 McLarens, Alonso and Hamilton. Yeah. Keen to see what Alonso can do here, of course. The 3 best drivers in the wet tend to be Verstappen, Hamilton, and Alonso. Alonso's in a better car than Hamilton, we think. So I'm keen to see if Alonso can try and get a little bit further up. Race Control has noted a start time of 16:11 local time. That's in just 3 minutes time. 3 minutes time we'll have the start for SQ3. And again, it's only 8 minutes long. There you go. And an immediate reaction there from, again, Lando Norris to get out to the front of the grid again, and he's on the intermediate tire. George Russell now getting interviewed, and he went out in that previous session in 11th position. So George making quite a few excuses about his lap, saying he only had 1 lap and there were 12 cars ahead of him, and the tires got cold as a result, and this and this. So making a lot of excuses, and yet Zhou Guanyu was not very far ahead of him, and he managed to put in a quicker time than a Mercedes. So I think that's poor from George Russell, making some excuses there. I think I'll just take it on the chin and say, yeah, it wasn't quick enough, didn't go well enough, but he's making a lot of excuses for himself, which I think is poor form, if I'm frank. I don't think I would do that. TC here saying, which drivers nowadays are good in the wet? I know Max, Lewis, and Alonso are good. Russell isn't bad in the wet. Well, Russell's not even in this session, so we don't even have to worry about Russell. I will say Lando Norris is quite good. Lando Norris tends to do well in the wet. Leclerc actually tends to struggle ever so slightly, so we'll see how he fares. But yeah, Valtteri Bottas should also be all right. Basically, the more experienced you are, the better you are in the wet, because it very much is. Wet driving is all about experience more than anything else. It's not about raw talent. That's about experience, because it's just understanding how the car reacts to a slight bit of a slip. When you go over a puddle, how to handle it, what the puddles look like when you've been racing. You learn so quickly what to look out for out on the track. So I think the more experienced drivers will always be the better drivers in the rain. Hence, that's why your Max Verstappen, your Hamilton, your Alonso tend to be your quickest wet drivers. It is very much wet out on track. We are about to get going with the final session. Only 8 minutes long. Everybody has pretty much exited the pit lane. They're all on the intermediate tires. It is quite wet. Lando Norris on the radio, being told that the rain is expected to continue at this intensity. Basically just being told, don't expect it to dry up. Don't expect it to get any easier. It's only going to get slightly worse because if there's going to be a little bit more water out on track as a result of the continuous rain. Bob saying, if Sainz isn't 4th or 3rd, I'll do 50 push-ups. Well, how are you going to prove that, Bob? That's the greater question. How are you going to prove that you've done 50 push-ups if he doesn't get into 3rd or 4th? Can I just point out, Bob, that you have said in that statement there that if he gets 1st or 2nd, and you're still doing 50 push-ups. So good luck to you. Dear. And Sergio Perez not being very kind to the kick-saber there, just making sure that he keeps him out. And there you go. The sprint, final sprint qualifying session, session 3 has started, just 8 minutes long. And the kick-sabers seem to be the last cars heading out onto the track. Not necessarily the worst thing, not necessarily the best thing either. Fernando Alonso also 3rd last out of the drivers that have exited here. All right, let's see how these kick-sabers can do. I'm very, very keen to see. Very, very keen to see. Bob didn't think about that. He didn't think about the fact that Sainz could finish 1st or 2nd, and he still's got to do 50 push-ups. So we got to prove it, eh? 1st, 2nd, and 5th and below, you are doing push-ups. Oh dear, we've got a car off track already. Lando Norris has gone off the track. I think it's very, very wet. Turn 6 already, he's gone off. So this is going to be a hell of a session because I think people are going to have to really nurse these cars around the track when you see very, very slow times. Hamilton's still in the pits. Oh my word, Lando Norris is sliding everywhere. Oh my word, we've got a car in the barrier there. Charles Leclerc's gone into a wall. He's managed to get him out. It's not a problem, but he has gone into the wall slightly. So the conditions are terrible for the intermediate time. Maybe it's full wets. Maybe it's full wets. Watching a replay of Charles Leclerc here on his outlap here. He just seems to lose it. Yeah, it does in turn 6. He spins right round, just grazes the wall. So it's not a problem at all. But not good. The grip levels are not good at all. As James says, crisis, I think they might need wets. I also think so. Leclerc on the radio. He says he thinks the front wing is broken, so they're going to check. So hopefully it's not. If it is, it's a problem. But Charles Leclerc seems to make these mistakes all the time. I'm not saying it's necessarily a big mistake, but, you know, it is always a thing that seems to happen. Alonso's been noted for pit lane infringement, so we'll see what happens there. But now, people are starting their hot laps. Max Verstappen, Lando Norris, or Piastri rather, starting. No, the grip levels are not there at all. One imagine surely the wet tire is a little bit better. Well, let's see how these guys do. Let's see how they fare. Let's see if anybody goes into the wall. We might see some very interesting things happen in the session. It's all about who can nurse the car around the best. Max Verstappen starting his lap. He's following Piastri. Lando Norris also going. So is Sainz. So who knows what's going to happen here? Sainz, of course, the only Ferrari remaining. Leclerc's now gone to the pits to see about that front wing. My word, this is an interesting. Oh my word, he's all over the place. He can't handle it. Max Verstappen just can't seem to get any grip around the track. Piastri actually seems to be going a lot better than him. So this is all about who can nurse the car home the best. Max Verstappen's gone off. He's gone off. That's going to be a disallowed lap. That's going to be a disallowed lap for Max Verstappen. So it's all going down here. Max Verstappen's not going to get a decent lap. And Lando Norris has gone quickest in Sector 1. So he's managed to get around all right so far. But yeah, let's see what happens. Carlos Sainz is also going around all right. But this is all happening now. Max Verstappen went off the track slightly, which means he's going to have to go around again to try and do another lap. But he's really, this is anybody's race. This is literally, you could have a kick-saber at the top here. It's all about anybody. Lando Norris currently leading it with the purple sector in Sector 1. Piastri in Sector 2 has got a purple sector. Let's see if Lando Norris can beat it. Carlos Sainz also going all right so far. He seems to be doing all right. But again, there's a lot of spray. There's a lot of things happening. Oh, Oscar Piastri having to really correct quite a lot here. Lando Norris has got the Sector 2 purple time now as well. It's all happening out on track. My word, this is a hell of a session. It's very interesting. Just over 4 minutes remaining. Max Verstappen has to get around as quickly as possible to try and put in a lap. But you can see how slow these laps are. They're going to be about 150s. As Lando Norris really breaks earlier into that the second to final corner, and he goes around really slowly. Piastri now crosses the line in a 150 what does he finish in? Oh my word, still going. It's going to be over 2 minutes long, so Max Verstappen's really going to struggle here. Piastri eventually gets over the line at 2:02.5. At 2:02.5. I mean, ridiculous times being put in here. Lando Norris, where will he finish up? Sergio Perez is going around all right. but Max Verstappen still has to go around again. Carlos Sainz had to change his wing. Here comes Sainz. He's gone slow. He's gone very, very slow. Lando Norris goes to third place. Lando Norris goes to third place. Perez goes quickest at 2.004. Sergio Perez is currently on pole. Fernando Alonso, though, might well be able to come across here. Max Verstappen's time has now been deleted for track limits, but Alonso's gone around slowly. Unfortunately for him, I thought he'd go around a little bit quicker, but slow. 2.03. Sainz quite slow on this track as well. So Zhou Guanyu now comes around. Where will he finish up? The two kick Saubers trying to help each other out. Where does Valtteri Bottas finish? Valtteri Bottas, he finishes right up in second. Look at Valtteri Bottas in second for that kick Sauber. I said anything could happen here, and the kick Sauber's gone into second position right now. So he could be starting on the front of the grid for tomorrow's sprint race. Max Verstappen's now doing his attempt again. He's only gone a green sector in sector 1, not a purple sector, which means that he could be slower than Sergio Perez. He's struggling out there as Max Verstappen. It's not going well. Carlos Sainz is down in sixth. Max Verstappen, though, does get a purple sector in sector 2, quite significantly quicker than Sergio Perez. Track limits has been deleted for Zhou, unfortunately. His time's been deleted for track limits, rather. Carlos Sainz going a lot quicker. So is Lando Norris. Oh, big slide from Max Verstappen, but he still holds on to it. But he gets it under control. It's great driving for Max Verstappen to hold on to it. But he's had his sectors stolen away from him from Lando Norris, who's going around quickest. He could be on pole for tomorrow's sprint qualifying. Max Verstappen coming into that second to last corner. It's all happening out on track. I cannot believe the sort of things that we are seeing here. Max Verstappen slows down into it. He seems to be nailing this final sector, to be fair to him. Only 1 minute and 45 seconds left, which means anybody crossing the line right now will not even be able to finish their lap up. So Max Verstappen comes around the final corner here. Let's see what is first. Oh, no, he goes off the track. He goes off, which means that he's not going to be able to put in a time. So Max Verstappen is not going to be able to finish anywhere near the top there. He's going to have his track time deleted. Carlos Sainz comes around the final corner. Will he go quicker? He goes 2:01. Lando Norris goes also slightly off, I think. Norris just goes into second position. Unbelievable things. But Fernando Alonso still needs to finish up his lap. Fernando Alonso could potentially throw a spanner in the works. Let's see what Fernando Alonso could do. Can Fernando Alonso beat it? He's going to come across the line. Will Fernando Alonso beat it? Oh, he does it! He does it! Oh, my word! It's unbelievable. It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. Fernando Alonso gets the pole, but Charles Leclerc is still going around as well. Let's see if Charles Leclerc can beat it. But Fernando Alonso is currently on pole position for the sprint qualifying, with Sergio Perez behind him, Lando Norris and Piastri in third and fourth. The kick Sauber, Valtteri Bottas in fifth. Verstappen's not going to be able to put in a time, which means he's going to finish right at the bottom there. So here comes Charles Leclerc. Will he beat Alonso's time? He doesn't. He goes to third, though. But a brilliant from Fernando Alonso. I told you he's the one to watch out here. But here comes Lewis Hamilton as well, another brilliant wet weather driver. Let's see what he can do. Piastri's also still going around. So let's see what Hamilton and Piastri can do right down to the wire. But currently, Fernando Alonso on pole for tomorrow's sprint qualifying. Oh, Hamilton goes quite wide at the second to last corner. He seems to be going quite slow. I don't think he's going to beat it. Track limits for Norris was deleted. So he's all the way down into seventh now. Unfortunate for him. Now, here comes Hamilton. Will he go around quicker? He seems to be going very quickly. He might steal it. He's going to steal it. He does steal it. Hamilton gets SQ3's quickest time, but Piastri and Sainz still going around. But Hamilton's now currently on preliminary pole. We're still seeing drivers go around. Let's see what happens here. Verstappen still going around, Piastri still going around, Sainz still going around. Norris has gone slower in both the sectors, so I don't think he's going to be able to get there. Piastri, will he go onto the top? No, he will not. He's only down there in fifth, but he's now finished this session. That is officially finished for Oscar Piastri. But here comes Carlos Sainz. He's going quite quickly. Could the Ferrari steal it right at the back here? Verstappen manages to put in a good lap right at the end, but not quicker than Lewis Hamilton. Carlos Sainz comes across the line, only in fourth position. Lando Norris comes across the line. Unbelievable for him. My word, look at that from Lando Norris. A 157.9 for Lando Norris, and he goes into pole for tomorrow's race. Hamilton in second, Verstappen third, Alonso fourth, Sainz in fifth, Perez in sixth, Leclerc seventh, Piastri eighth, Bottas and Zhou in ninth and tenth. But let's see what Zhou can do. Let's see. No, it's not. Norris's time has been deleted, so he's all the way back down into ninth. Alonso has just improved his time. He goes into second ahead of Verstappen. Alonso goes into second. Brilliant from him now, but Zhou Guanyu and Valtteri Bottas finishing up their laps. Could they just do it right at the end here? Could the kick Saubers manage to get something? I don't think so. I think they're still going a bit too slowly. At least Zhou's Bottas, though, might be able to do something. Hamilton's still going around again for another lap, but I don't think he needs to. Zhou Guanyu comes across the line, slowest time of the day. But Valtteri Bottas could come across the line here and be a lot quicker than everybody else. Where's Valtteri Bottas going to finish up here? He's going to come across the line now. And, oh, and unlucky for him, he only finishes up there in 8th. But Hamilton doesn't need to bother. Lewis Hamilton starts on pole for tomorrow's sprint. Lando Norris getting his time deleted. So unfortunate for him. He thought he'd managed to do it, but unbelievable session. It all happened out there. Just going through the final 10 there. Unbelievable. I still can't believe it. Cannot actually believe it. Hamilton's... Norris goes back to the top of the table because they said there's time not been deleted. Sorry, I was just listening to it. It's been reinstated, which means Lando Norris will start on pole. Unbelievable finisher. Unbelievable finisher. Oh, no, yes, you do, Bob. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Lando Norris preliminarily had his lap time deleted and now being given back, which means he's first. Hamilton couldn't beat it, which is why he had to keep going for his lap, unable to beat it. So Lando Norris starts on the pole position for tomorrow's sprint qualifying. Hamilton is going to be second, Alonso third, Verstappen fourth. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Norris being told he's on pole. I mean, what a session, ladies and gentlemen, and anybody else in between. Unbelievable session there. My word, all over the place. Who knew what was happening? I don't know what was happening. Yeah, quite exciting. So tomorrow's sprint qualifying session looks like this. Lando Norris will start on pole alongside Lewis Hamilton. Lewis Hamilton crucially has that inside line, of course, going into turn 1, a very long turn 1. Alonso starts there in third alongside Max Verstappen, so he's going to have to put up with that Red Bull. Sainz in 5th, Perez in 6th, Leclerc in 7th, Piastri in 8th, Bottas and Zhou in the quick Saubers 9th and 10th, Russell in 11th, Magnussen Hulkenberg in 12th and 13th, Ricciardo 14th, Lance Stroll up there in 15th, Gasly, Ocon 16th, 17th, Albon in 18th, Tsunoda 19th, and as per usual, Logan Sargent in 20th. My word, ladies and gentlemen, what a session we have just had. Bob's currently completing his push-ups. He has to complete them. He didn't think he'd have to do them until Lando Norris' time was reinstated. Brilliant driving from Lando Norris. And can I point out my predictions here, by the way? I am the best person to listen to. I said before the session, I said the quickest drivers in the wet will be those experienced ones, will be Max Verstappen, Alonso, Hamilton, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. And I said, and also Lando Norris is very good in the wet as well, and he's been around for a while. He finishes first. Do I not know what I'm talking about or what? All I'm saying is that the 4 drivers I said you have to watch out for are the top 4 for tomorrow's race as a result of this wet weather driving. Great predictions for myself, if I do say so. And yeah, what a session. So, ladies and gentlemen, be sure to go and check out our channel partner, of course, BITDEFENDER, for some award-winning cybersecurity. You can go and get a discount on it as well if you go and click on the link in the description. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you are new, like the video, and be sure to join us for tomorrow's sessions as well. Of course, we're going to have qualifying for the race as well as then the sprint session later on. Brilliant session that we've just had here, of course, as well. So don't miss tomorrow's sessions. You'll be joining me and I think Reese as well for the sprint race. So yeah, we'll see you guys tomorrow. But otherwise, I've been Mark. Thank you so much for watching Forever Motorsports. And yeah, cheerio.